Bleak Falls Barrow, a place we all know and love. To an extent. It's the first Nordic ruin we visit, should you follow the main questline, waiting for us to delve into its ancient halls in search of forgotten treasures. Welcome to Oddities. Here we take a look at some of my favourite details, moments, and minutiae in games. So grab yourself a tea or a coffee and sit back as we explore together. Before we begin today, I just wanted to thank you all for the support. This series is just so much fun to make, and it's great to see you all enjoying it so much. I'm always excited to see what we find next, and I hope you'll stick around. From Riverwood, we can see the looming Barrow casting a shadow over the town. It's in our peripheral from the first instant we enter the region, almost begging us to come investigate. We could go to Farenkar or Lucan to get quest incentive to come here, or we could brave it with no knowledge of what awaits us within. We'll usually approach from the east, taking the path up from Riverwood, and are greeted by this awesome view. The Barrow's sullen grandeur standing steadfast against the wind blowing up the mountain. Like most Nordic ruins, its design is draconic or avian, these arches reaching up to the sky like sails, almost making us think of a longship. Otherwise, we could consider it skeletal, denoting it as a place of burial, or of further relation to dragons. It kind of looks like their bones. There's these lookouts dotted around the structure, affording a view of the valley beyond. I'm not the most versed in Elder Scrolls lore, so let me know if there's a specific reason these are here. They would certainly give a defender ample time to see an enemy coming. Speaking of defenders, we have some bandits patrolling the place. I suppose these guys drew the short straw, stuck out here in the freezing cold on the off chance someone comes after them after stealing Lucan's golden claw. As we approach, we have some cairns and obelisks, guiding travellers towards the Barrow. After taking care of the bandits, we can have a look at the door, emblazoned with 2 dragon heads. I wonder if these smaller dragons on the side are meant to convey their connection to flame or frost. Moving inside, we are greeted by a grand entrance hall crumbling under the weight of time. Snow falls softly through the open roof as the winds of the mountain howl outside. We can find some dead skeevers. It looks like they took 2 of the bandits down with them, which is a little embarrassing on the bandits' behalf. Their companions have elected to just leave their bodies here. We can assume theirs is an alliance of convenience. There's probably not much love between them if they're just gonna move on like this. We have an altar, or embalming table here. Perhaps bodies were ceremonially prepared in the entrance here before being moved further into the crypt. The bandits had a little makeshift camp here, fire roaring to stave off the cold of the mountain. I can't imagine trying to sleep here, terrified something would creep up from below to grab me in the night. I'd at least move a little more towards the entrance, away from this terrifying gullet of a hallway leading down. A bit of foreshadowing here as we push through these cobwebs. I'm sure all kinds of creepy crawlies have wormed their way into this place over the centuries, claiming it for themselves. Through here we get some more altars holding burial urns and gifts. I wonder if the depth at which you were buried relied on rank or influence. I love these roots running along the floor. It almost feels like the earth has claimed this place and now controls it like some kind of underground forest. Who has lit these braziers? It's always been a question of mine in regard to Skyrim dungeons. I guess in this specific one the bandits might be lighting their way as they go, but as we continue I can only imagine that Draugr are doing it, who are weak to fire. We can see Skyrim's smartest man here, solving the first puzzle of this dungeon. Where do you think they keep the ladder to light these basins above us? I like that there's a lever on the other side of this gate, explaining how Arvel closed it behind him. Down this well, we get some first-hand experience with the skeevers that have infested this place. More and more webs cling to the walls around us. You can't help but feel a chill down your spine. I am not an arachnophobe, but seeing this amount of webs would certainly make me one. There's some stools in this chamber around the embalming table. Maybe priests would sit here as the body was prepared. Continuing deeper into this nest, we hear Arvel's cries for help and meet the architect of this webbed domain. After defeating it and letting Arvel make another ill-advised decision, we can look up to see where it came from. What is this light, I wonder? We're probably a bit too deep for it to be sunlight. Maybe there's some sort of magic apparatus in the chamber above? If we look below, we can actually find this little room with no discernible exit. Chasing after Arvel, we find ourselves in the graveyard itself. Bodies of long dead warriors lining the walls, some less dead than we would hope. Real folklore refers to Draugr as the guardians of old places like burial mounds, protecting the treasures that lay within. Apparently, the indication that someone will become a Draugr is their body not being buried horizontally, rather left vertical or in a sitting position. Old burial rites would have bodies carried in such a way that they would not be able to see where they were being taken, unable to find their way back out of their resting place. It can be assumed then that many of the traps that lay within these places are actually to combat the Draugr themselves. We just happen to be caught in the crossfire. As we fight our way through, we come across this underground waterfall, likely sourced at some basin, or coming from melted snow that has seeped through the rocks of the mountain. If this is so, then these wooden scaffolds above us are doing a good job preventing this place from coming down on our head. With our path blocked, it actually looks like we take the unintended path onwards, barred by this gate. It seems like we exit the Barrow and enter the cave system it was built into, sidestepping the crypt in a way. We reach this tube that allows sunlight from above. This was probably carved by the waterfall and the rain coming through this crack in the earth. Past the caves, we re-enter the Barrow, these chambers barely clinging to their foundations. The pillars here bend under the weight of the ground above, threatening to crumble at any second. This segment is referred to as the sanctum, presumably the most sacred and important of places in the Barrow. It's guarded by this many-headed bonfire, casting shadows around the chamber. It's interesting to look at mythology and folklore, and how many times something with multiple heads appears as a guard or defender of something. With the odd way this next chamber is set up, you have to assume the Barrow's construction conforms to the natural caves of the mountain somewhat. Chambers rising and falling to make sense of this network of rock. Of course, the Hall of Stories. Legends and sagas retold, carved into the walls here before the iconic dragon claw door. It feels more like we're opening a jail cell, which is probably why the claw puzzle is pretty easy. This final chamber, almost sitting apart from the Barrow and in the mountain itself, still has some lovely natural lighting, of course. The word wall gifts us its knowledge, and we are introduced to the boss of this dungeon. Likely the leader of whatever warband was buried here eons ago. He carries the Dragonstone. I'm sure that'll come of use later. I wonder if this is the same underground river we were below earlier. We have these pillars of stone that don't look quite natural. Maybe these were obelisks like the ones outside, but the builders ran out of time. Out through the Skyrim door, making any security we faced before kind of pointless, we reach the final image of this dungeon, a little shrine topped with a skull. I wonder if this is a part of the Barrow or was retrofitted later. Maybe a local comes here to remember their lost loved one, or perhaps a necromancer has made use of this place. But surely no witches live nearby. And with that, we've made it out, and somehow not lost the drive to continue our playthrough, as tends to happen in this dungeon. I've rushed through Bleak Falls Barrow so often, I never really appreciated it for what it was. A lovely introduction to Nordic ruins, and the ancient worlds we'll be exploring as the game progresses. Thanks for watching. It's a joy to explore the world of Skyrim, and always great to have you guys along for the ride. As always, let me know if there's any details or games you'd like me to take a look at. We'll be staying in Skyrim for the next episode, so subscribe for that. And I'll see you all in the next one. Cheers.